Leave my house if you want, and quit complaining. Yes, leave my father's house.
Yeah, that's my husband, William, and my son, Jake. My name's Penelope, and I'm in my late 30s. I got married to William 16 years ago, and we had Jake a year later. No, we didn't get married out of love. Our parents were business partners. My parents came to me one night right when I was about to sleep and broke the news to me.
We need his family on our side, so you need to get married to their heir.
What? Marry a man I don't know? A man I've never met? It was a tough period. I tried to refuse, but my parents were in control of my life. Our wedding was grand, but anyone could see the absence of love between us. After our wedding, they began to press for a child. They needed me to birth a child as, according to them, that would be the glue for our marriage. William and I birthed Jake a year later. Were they happy? They were overjoyed. I gave him an heir. He loved his son, but not me. Over time, I got used to his coldness. When Jake turned 6, William began taking him on every trip he went. I was always left alone. The few times they were home, Jake loved to be in the company of his father. Whenever I tried to sit with them, William would send me away.
How dare you think you belong here with my son and I? Get out, stupid.
Saying that in front of my son wasn't nice. I tried to talk to him about it several times, but my words stank to him.
How dare you try to lecture me on how to raise my son?
He's my son, too. I have just as much right to him as you do.
No, stupid. You don't. You're just a tool I used to bring him to life. Get your eyes off him.
You can imagine how heartbroken I was. My son grew up to be the replica of his father. He barely spoke to me. And the few times he did, it was never similar to a conversation between a mother and her child. One time, he came home first from a trip, and I could hear him say he's hungry. I quickly rushed down the stairs and into the kitchen to prepare him something to eat. When I served it, I went into his room to inform him, but he yelled at me instead. "Hey, Jake, I made you dinner. It's served already. Would you like to have it now?"
I didn't ask you to prepare dinner for me, did I? Why did you do that?
Jake, I'm your mother. I barely see or speak to you. I heard you complaining of being hungry and decided to make you something.
I didn't ask you to do that, Penelope. I don't want to eat your food, okay?
He stormed out of the room, leaving me in shock. My son called me by my name in so much anger. I burst into tears, falling on the floor. I stayed in his room until he returned.
Are you still here? Get out of my room, stupid.
Stupid. That was the same way his father referred to me. I couldn't believe my own son would ever call me that too. When William returned home, I told him everything that happened.
Serves you right. You've been useless to us, Penelope. Let it go on like that, okay?
Useless? I knew I had nothing to contribute to them. My parents had died. Their company was in huge debts, so there was nothing left for me after their death. As a result of that, William's family couldn't get anything from our marriage anymore. But how could he call me that? I didn't agree to get married to him. He never treated me as his wife, nor did he ever let a relationship grow between my son and I. So how's it my fault that I have nothing more to offer? That night, I made a promise to get myself a job. Perhaps they'd start to view me as a human if I'm bringing home some money too and being all busy. I went for an interview while Jake and William were away, and 2 days later I got the job. William and Jake returned early. In the spirit of happiness, I managed to gather them in the living room to reveal the news. However, the reply I got broke my heart.
A job? What job can a stupid person do? You're better off staying at home and living the luxury of being married to a wealthy man. We don't need the peanuts you'll be earning. Your salary for a year wouldn't even buy me a pair of shoes. Work for yourself and see if you'll last more than a month, Penelope.
He pronounced my name in a very mocking manner. I was broken, but determined to prove to them that I wasn't stupid and could do something for myself. I resumed working at the hotel. My position was a receptionist. It was hard putting a smile on every minute of the day and standing all day, welcoming visitors. But I promised myself that I wasn't going to give up and allow my son and husband to make me a laughingstock. Somehow, after a month, they managed to locate the hotel and came over. I was mocked to tears.
I can't believe the job you were referring to is a hotel receptionist. You look even more stupid. I'm so glad none of my friends know who you are. It would have been such a shame to be told they saw my mom working at a hotel. You truly are stupid.
They both laughed at me, pointing and clapping. When the manager came to interfere, he recognized William to be an influential man. When asked why I was in tears, William told him, "I'm incompetent."
My son was merely joking about something with her and her silly emotions got triggered. How could you hire such a weakling? You're fired, Penelope. Don't you ever show your weak self here again.
Did I blame him? Of course not. He would never pick me against William. I quietly wiped my tears and walked away. I could hear the laughter from my son and husband. When they returned home, they mocked me even more. I didn't dare get another job. I knew I'd get found and fired again. Jake soon finished high school. For his graduation, they refused my presence. But I am his mother.
I don't need you there, Penelope. We don't need you there. Stay home, okay? You heard the boy, stupid. Stay home.
And that's how I missed his graduation from high school. As a gift, his father got him a car. Of course, the latest version of his favorite. I got him a necklace. I'd used all of my allowance from the previous month to get it for him.
I don't need your gift, Penelope. I can't wear cheap things. Get me something more expensive if you want to gift me something. You heard the boy. Think harder next time, Penelope, if your brain lets you.
All of that was said in front of our house staff. I walked back into the house in shame and tears, my heart shattered. What finally broke my last straw of patience was when he brought a strange lady home. I questioned him and received a resounding slap that sent me to the floor as a response.
How dare you? This is my house, not yours. If you can't deal with the sight of her, leave.
I couldn't take it anymore. When Jake returned home, I told him about it. Of course, he sided with his father. I went into my room, grabbed my purse, cards, and my bag. As I left the house, the three of them laughed so hard at me. I got a hotel where I stayed for a few days to think about my next step. I tried for another job and was accepted, this time as the managing director. I worked so hard there until I was able to get myself an apartment. I was away from William and Jake for 2 years until I heard about the struggles of their company in the news. Seeing that, I knew it was time to take revenge. I hired a private investigator who informed me with pictures that he'd been with over 8 women since our marriage, and 2 since I left. I gathered those as evidence of cheating and also contacted my lawyer to prepare divorce papers. Once they were ready, I drove down to the house I'd not been to in 2 years. I met him with Jake, who was 18.
What are you doing here? Why are you here?
I expected their reactions, so I wasn't shaken. I revealed my reasons and presented him the divorce papers. He asked me to leave, but I refused to go until he signed it. He got angry and slapped me. As if that wasn't enough, Jake joined hands with him and they beat me up until I ran out of the house. I was in pain, but I'd gotten what I wanted. I knew he'd get infuriated if I refused to leave, so I went with a voice and video recorder which recorded everything. With those as evidence, coupled with the cheating ones, I took him to court. He tried to plead not guilty, but when everything was presented, he was found guilty as charged. The judge ordered a divorce settlement and sentenced him and Jake to 6 months imprisonment each for hitting me. William had 2 companies. I took one. He had 2 mansions, and I took the second, plus half of his money and all other assets he had. While the second company struggled in the hands of his parents, I took care of the first and got it back to flourishing in 3 months. In 5 months, I'd become a well-known, successful businesswoman. My husband's parents put his second mansion up for sale to take care of the company. Once I heard it, I bought it. However, no matter the money put in it, it still couldn't come up. I'd also managed to take all of their business partners, so they were hopeless. In the month William and Jake were to return home, his parents put the company up for sale too. Of course, I bought it. When they were released, they were forced to stay in William's parents' home. Williams tried to start a paper company with the money he had left, but it crumbled in 3 months. I stationed people around and ensured no one patronized him. Eventually, they had become burdens to my ex-in-laws with how he had been drinking and gambling due to depression and how stubborn and poorly behaved Jake was. So his parents were forced to kick him and Jake out. They moved into a small apartment. One day, William and Jake visited me in my house and begged on their knees.
Mom, please forgive us. We've learned our lessons. Darling, help us please. We can barely even feed now.
Mom? The last time I heard that was over 12 years ago. And darling, you've never called me that. I'm stupid, remember? Anyway, I have no help for you both, as you're now strangers to me. Leave before I call the security. When they refused to leave, I had my guard bundle them out. From what I heard 2 months ago, William worked as a janitor in a nearby high school and was treated really badly by the students. Jake couldn't attend college anymore and was working at a small factory. I found out they were producing fake goods and reported them to the cops. The factory was closed down and Jake was rendered jobless. I heard they now survive on my ex-husband Peanut's salary and live in a tiny apartment with bedbugs. I live for more of their misery. Sweet, isn't it?